Somewhere in China, two baby girls are alive, right now, with DNA he rewrote before they were born. Look at this room. November 2018, Hong Kong. Some of the most important minds in genetics, all in one place. And a man walks up to the microphone and tells them he's already done it. Not a plan, not a proposal, done. And here's the part that made the room go cold. Those changes, they don't stay with the girls. They pass to their children and their children's children forever. He thought he'd be remembered as a hero. 1 year later, he was in a prison cell. So who was he? What did he actually do? And why did the entire scientific world turn on him in a matter of days? To understand why that room went silent, you need one word: germline. Your body has two kinds of cells. Most of them are just you, your skin, your blood. Change one of those, and the change dies with you. But a tiny few carry the code you pass on. Sperm, eggs, embryos, the germline. Edit those, and you're not changing a person. You're changing everyone who comes after them. For decades, that was the one bright red line in all of biology. You could study it, you could talk about it, but you did not cross it. And this man had just walked straight over it. Let's go back to what he actually did. His name was Jiankui, a biophysicist in Shenzhen, and his goal, on the surface, sounded almost noble. He recruited 8 couples. In every one, the father was living with HIV. Imagine that fear. You want a child, and you're terrified of what you might pass on. Jiankui said he had an answer: a gene called CCR5. CCR5 is a tiny doorway on the surface of your immune cells, and it's the exact doorway HIV uses to break in. Now here's the fascinating part. Some people are just born with that door locked. A natural mutation, carried by around 1 in 10 people of European descent, that makes them strongly resistant to the virus. So Jiankui thought, what if he could give that lock to a baby? Using CRISPR, the tool that lets you cut and edit DNA like a line of text, he edited the embryos, and 2 of them became twin girls. He called them Lulu and Nana. A scientist shielding babies from a deadly virus. That's the headline. But that's not the real story. Because the first problem is this: it was never necessary. Here's the thing about HIV. It doesn't actually hide inside sperm. It rides along in the fluid around it. So doctors already had a simple, proven fix. They washed the sperm, separating the healthy cells from the infected fluid before using them for IVF. And here's the twist. Jiankui's own team did exactly that, which means these babies were already safe before he ever touched their DNA. They were never truly at risk. And the second problem is so much worse. The edit didn't work. He was trying to copy that one natural protective mutation. He didn't. CRISPR made different changes, new ones, mutations no one had ever studied, that have never been shown to block HIV at all. And it gets stranger. In one of the twins, one copy of the gene was left completely untouched. He didn't give these girls a superpower. He gave them a permanent, inherited change to their genome. For nothing. And the science world figured this out almost instantly. A journalist found his experiment buried in a public trial registry before he'd even finished announcing it. The paper he wrote to prove his success, top journals looked at it and refused to publish it. Then the investigators came, and what they found wasn't just reckless, it was deceptive. He had forged the ethical review documents that were supposed to keep an experiment like this in check. Investigators found he'd misled the very doctors involved. The consent his families signed was called highly questionable. He hadn't asked the world for permission. He'd hidden it from them. On December 30th, 2019, a court in Shenzhen delivered its verdict. 3 years in prison. A fine of 3 million yuan. He was convicted like any ordinary criminal. The charge? Practicing medicine illegally. He lost. And the line held. Not because no one could cross it, but because everyone else had agreed not to. Somewhere out there are 3 children who never chose any of this, whose futures we genuinely don't know, and whose privacy we protect. He forced a question the rest of us hadn't finished asking. Should we rewrite what a human being is? And if we ever do, who gets to answer that at all?